Welcome, everyone, to the Daily Juice Podcast on the Betting Pros Network. I'm your host, Sean Stacking the Money Green. Give me a follow on Twitter at Sean T. Green. And as always, Daily Juice is being brought to you by BetMGM. Use that promo code JUICE, and a $10 bet turns into $200 if either team scores a touchdown. And man, speaking of touchdowns, we got some football. Let's go, baby. All right. Unfortunately, we got to get rid of some baseball recap. 0-2, down 2 units. I mean, O's let me down. They lost 3-1. The Orioles, you're supposed to be scrappy. You're supposed to be fighting for your playoff lives. You're worse than the Phillies. Come on. And Josiah Gray actually pitched a really good game. Should have just went Nats on the money line, but just couldn't get the strikeouts. Only got 2. So again, 0-2, but don't worry. Football's coming. We got a huge football slate. And before we get to that, got a big announcement. Congratulations. We have a winner on the DeAndre Swift jersey. And that winner is Rand Hawaa 08. RANDHAWAA 08. That is you. You won the DeAndre Swift jersey. Hit us up, info@bettingpros.com, info@bettingpros.com. Include your address, proof of subscription, and you are good to go. Congrats, man. That thing looks awesome. So congrats to Rand Hawaa 08 over on the YouTube. All right. Enough messing around, and congrats, obviously, but we got some picks to give out. Got a full slate. Let's go. Tons of picks for Thursday Night Football, but before we get to that, let's talk a little college football Thursday night. Utah State at BYU. I'm taking BYU laying 24, -110 over on DraftKings. You know, Utah State, not very good. Again, that's why they're catching 24 here at BYU. They're struggling to put up points, averaging only 15.5 per game. BYU's receivers are pretty good. Keanu Hill, 14 catches, 283 yards, 3 touchdowns. Their other receiver who's really good, Gunnar Romney, he was out for a while. He's back. Utah State quarterback Logan Bonner, not afraid to throw some picks, which is good when you're laying a giant number, -24. He's thrown 8 interceptions on the season, so I feel like he's going to get turned over. Normally, I would lean dog, but they're not a home dog. They're at BYU, and BYU, I think, has a legit home field advantage, especially at night. So give me BYU -24. All right, getting to the Bengals-Dolphins game. Going to go to got a few props here I really like. Give me Mike Gesicki under 20.5 receiving yards. Get that -115 over on DraftKings. He's just really not a big part of the offense. I know in that crazy game against the Ravens, he got a touchdown, but over 3 games, he has 6 targets for 48 yards, and 41 of that came in that Ravens game, which was certainly an outlier as far as like game script. I don't think they're going to be able to go nuts like that for a number of reasons. I just don't think he's going to see a ton of opportunities. So give me the under on Mike Gesicki receiving yards at 20.5. Next up, Evan McPherson over 1.5 field goals, -130 over on DraftKings. I gave this out yesterday when we were talking about the sleeper player props, sleeper.com/dailyjuice, but I'll officially add this onto the card. Again, 2-3-2 as far as field goals made so far this season for Evan McPherson. Bengals have struggled a little bit in the red zone. Miami's defense okay as well in the red zone. Money McPherson, 83% field goals made in his career so far. Again, short career, but that's a great number. He's already missed 2 this season. Got his misses out of the way. Call him Money McPherson for a reason. You can't have kicker swag and not hit 2 field goals on Thursday Night Football. Next up, feel great about this one. Hayden Hurst under 27.5 receiving yards over on DK -120. He's dealing with a groin injury. I don't think he's 100% at all. His snap share is really declining. I think it's correlated to the fact that he's dealing with a groin, which sounds odd out of context, but I think that's really limiting his ability. And again, only 38% of the offensive snaps last game. I think a lot of it is the injury, but some of it I think they like this other tight end, Mitchell Wilcox, who's been out snapping him And I was going to go under catches, but there's been times where he's hit the catches and not the yards. He had 5 catches for 24 yards against Dallas. I just don't think he's going to really light it up. And again, between the injury and the declining snap share, under 27.5 receiving yards for Hayden Hurst. And of course, if you guys missed yesterday, I did give out my play early because I was worried about the line shifting. I am on the Bengals -3.5, -120 over at the Dolphins for 2 units. Again, the fact that the Bengals are coming off a relatively easy win against the Jets. They're back home. They're the most desperate team. I mean, just imagine in the fourth quarter, backs against the wall. Who's really going to be, this is like football guy talk, but the Bengals are really fighting for their lives here. I mean, Miami, if they lose this game, they're still 3-1. They're still looking good. They have this long rest to get Tua fully healthy. And it's not just Tua. Like, a bunch of their other guys are banged up. Jalen Waddle also has a groin thing. Teron Armstead and Tua, they're both questionable as well. Again, I think all these guys probably go, but again, I don't think they're going to be 100%. And again, I just keep coming back to the fact that the Dolphins defense was in that heat and humidity for 90 snaps. And now it's the hurricane thing as well has turned into a nightmare for them. I don't know if you guys saw the videos on social media, but they had a practice at the Cincinnati Bearcat Stadium. And then there were a bunch of like college kids filming it, tagging the Bengals like, hey, here's some of the plays they're running. It's just kind of a nightmare situation. And, Tua, again, supposedly he's dealing with his spinal issue. Who knows if it's really that, but how do you get treatment on a short week when you're traveling, when you have to leave your facility early to avoid a hurricane? It just sounds like so much is going against this Dolphins team. This just feels like a schedule loss. I mean, you see it in the NBA all the time where the back-to-back road games and stuff like that. But this is just a brutal spot for them, and it's a get-right spot for the Bengals. So, again, like I said, yesterday's show, Bengals -3.5, -120 for 2 units in case you missed that. Last but not least, I'm not doing the first touchdown bets in the Discord because I'm doing them on the show. That's right. I say don't bet scared. And what am I? I gotta throw out a unit here on some first touchdown bets. Half a unit on each. First up, Mitchell Wilcox, 40-1 for the Cincinnati Bengals. Like I said, he's got a couple targets. He is out snapping Hayden Hurst right now, who's dealing with that groin issue. Couldn't find any player props for Mitchell Wilcox except this one. 40-1, half unit. Let's get it all back. In general, I love taking first touchdown for tight ends, especially backup tight ends, fringe guys like Mitchell Wilcox. 40-1 feels like a great price. And then one for the Dolphins. Give me Trent Sherfield, 30-1, half a unit on each of these guys. Trent Sherfield is the only Miami receiver to have a red zone target in every game. I'm going to repeat that because it feels pretty important and sounds super important. Sherfield is the only guy to receive a red zone target in every one of Miami's games. If you watch that game against Buffalo, he almost got in. They're clearly drawing up stuff for him near the goal line in the red zone. I think he could get it done here. Love him at 30-1. So Sherfield 30-1, half a unit. Mitchell Wilcox, half a unit at 40-1. Either way, if one of these hits, we'll be celebrating in the bettingpros.com/chat Discord, lighting that thing up. So, for the recap of picks, give me BYU, keeping it chalky there, -24, -110 over on DraftKings. Mike Gesicki, under 20.5 receiving yards, -115 over on DraftKings. Evan Money McPherson, over 1.5 field goals, -130 over on DraftKings. And again, Sleeper.com/Daily Juice can play that guy over there. Hayden Hurst, under 27.5 receiving yards over on DK as well, -120. And, of course, the first touchdown brothers, Mitchell Wilcox, half a unit on that at 40-1. And Trent Sherfield, 30-1, half unit as well. And like I said, I am on the Bengals, -3.5, -120. Got that in yesterday. Oh, man, big football weekend coming. Love talking National Football League, college. We got it all. And you know who else has it all? BetMGM. Use the promo code JUICE, bet $10, get $200 if either team scores a touchdown. Restrictions apply. Follow us on TikTok at Betting Pros. Follow me on Twitter at Sean T. Green. Check out my other show, the Sports Gambling Podcast. Just had Brandon Jacobs on. Just put out my NFL Picks podcast as well. Guys, you know what to do. Subscribe, rate, and review. And as always, don't forget to let it ride.